I heard Leslie Jones read you for filth.
Leslie Jones read me for filth. Now,
I'm such a fan of hers.
Me too. And I have not watched any of her videos because if you knew someone was reading you for filth, would you look? Okay, now, oh my God, the phone lines now just blew up. If you knew, John, if you knew someone was online reading you for filth, would you go online and press play? Because when it was happening, people were...
Actually...
A friend of mine texted me and said, oh my God, Leslie is reading you for filth. And I was like, okay... Looks like I'm going to start watching Mad Men from season 1, episode 1. I literally, because I was off Monday night. And I was like, okay, I'm not going on Twitter. I am not, that's that. So there you go. Giovanna from California.
Hi, Andy.
Hey.
I just want to say I adore you. But the reunion, the last question that was shown.
Oh,
about Brian and Courtney. Oh my God.
Cringy, right?
So cringy. And she killed it with the best look of all time.
I know. Well, listen, here's the deal with that question. Do I wish I hadn't asked it? Of course. I made a joke to her at the end where I said, are you and Brian going to hang out tonight or something like that? Mm-hmm. The reason that I did that is... The context of that is we have had Southern Charm reunions. We have had Below Deck reunions where people hated each other. Horrible things. And then they all go out that night and they get drunk and then I come into work the next day and they're like, guess who hooked up last night? I'm like, you're kidding me. You're kidding me. How is that possible? So that's why I asked that question. Do I wish I had not have asked it? Of course. I understand how it came off. That's why I asked that question. But yes, I got it, Giovanna.
Great answer.
Thanks. Sherry in Texas.
Hi, it's actually Carrie.
Oh, Carrie, sorry.
No, I just didn't. I thought the guys kind of got a bad rap. I mean, yes, they were not great, but they were. Riley has got to be probably one of the hardest people to ever work with. She just doesn't like. I mean, to take authority. I don't know. I couldn't.
Well, I mean, but that's a really good point. I mean, because everyone kind of behaved like assholes at one point or another.
Right.
And the point of the reunion is for both sides to say what they have to say. So I just want to say, do I think the guys behaved horribly? Yes, of course. You can't kiss someone who doesn't want to be kissed or talk about slapping someone with your dick. And people are really upset specifically with Ashton. And I want to say that at the reunion, which is the time for both sides to say what they have to say, he sat there and apologized in a 4-minute soliloquy with tears in his eyes. Okay?
Yes.
So... typically what you look for at a reunion is some sort of apology or moving forward. So after this guy sits there and apologizes for 4 minutes with tears in his eyes, I didn't beat him with a club after that, as I think people would have liked for me to do. But
I thought you were very fair.
Well, thank you. But if you look at Riley's behavior and say that she also didn't occasionally behave like an asshole too, then I don't know what to tell you. Another thing that I just want to say about this, the atmosphere of living on a boat with your coworkers who you also occasionally sleep with. And this is from everybody. This is Kate Chastain saying, you know what? Yeah, I think I'm going to fuck Tanner tonight. No, I'm not. He's too drunk. He's gross. Oh, maybe I'm going to do this. It is totally unusual. It's out of the norm. It brings about horrible behavior. There is no HR person on the boat. Okay?
No.
And I also just want to say, you all feel that I failed you. I am sorry for that. I am trying to get to a place where you move forward and people kind of own their behavior. That is my goal, to get people to own their behavior. For me, if I sit there and I look at Ashton with tears in his eyes apologizing, do I think he's at least making an attempt to own his behavior? it seems like it. I don't know what to tell you, you know? And I'm not going to make excuses. And this is going to sound like an excuse, but I do just want to say my state of mind was actually, I had a procedure on my forehead. I think you saw that I had a huge Band-Aid on my forehead. I had a procedure a couple hours before. I was on painkillers. I was in a lot of pain. I just want to explain my state of mind. We shot for over 2 hours, and I kept saying to the control room, full of women, by the way, hey, you guys, am I being tough enough on the guys? Like, I want to make sure that I'm being tough enough on the guys. And they were like, we're good. We have enough stuff. So I I'm sorry if you guys feel like I failed you. You obviously do. But that's my spiel on that. Thank you, Carrie. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you. And I think Kate too gets she gets to do whatever she wants, which she's been there long enough that makes sense. But there are some things that she just.
Well, and Simone had issues with not. All I'm saying is everyone had things maybe to answer to, and I'm sorry if you felt that I was imbalanced in my holding people to the fire. Jessica from New York.
Hey, Andy.
Hey.
I think you actually did a really good job, to me.
Wow. Go on Twitter.
Sort of
You'll
going.
see the
I know,
content.
but going after the guys with the hard questions, and then with Captain Lee specifically, I feel like he never holds Kate accountable, and it's always she does the exact same thing that Ashton did when she ran back and told.
Well, that's what I couldn't get over.
Yeah.
I didn't understand Captain Lee being so mad at Ashton about overhearing the conversation about the text messages and saying something which had nothing to do with what was going on the boat or professionalism, or it was gossip. He repeated gossip, which they all do. So that's why I was kind of going.
The show.
Yeah.
And I'm happy she's leaving. I'm tired of her.
Oh.
I like, honestly, I feel like she was really disrespectful to Simone.
Okay.
I didn't appreciate the way she treated her.
Uh-huh.
And Simone is right. She doesn't have the privilege to act as they all do. She doesn't have the privilege to speak up and be, because she'll get labeled the angry black woman. And they don't understand that.
All right. Thank you, Jessica. Kathy from Texas.
Oh, Andy, I've been thinking about this for the last few days. I was so shocked at the reaction on Twitter after part one. And I thought to myself, well, let's see what happens next week.
Well, I was oh, good. Next week, I do hold everyone accountable. I was like, oh, well, good. I can't wait I think I was tweeting, I can't wait for you to see part two. Well, I was wrong about that.
Well, you know what I'm thinking? Number one, I could tell that you weren't feeling well. You weren't your usual self. I know listening to your show, you had had the procedure done. And I just thought there was a look in your eye that you just were kind of either tired or whatever.
I was in pain and on painkillers, and I was kind of shook.
Well, I do think you did ask the hard questions. You brought up all the inappropriate things, like slapping her in the face with a dick and all that stuff,
right.
And I'm glad you did. I think those guys could have said anything and everything, and still people would be unhappy. And I think the whole thing that Leslie kind of barreled in on this. But the only thing I really want to get in here is I think because you kind of got into it with Leanne Locken at Dallas.
Yes.
About the racial comments.
Yeah.
That maybe people are now anticipating you're going to do that all the time.
I think also, you know what I think also, that's a really good point about the Leanne thing. The other point is I am more of a hired hand as the host of the Below Deck reunion. People think that was one of the last shows I developed when I was in charge of development at Bravo. I don't have anything to do with Below Deck. I'm not a producer. When Bravo asked me to host the reunion, I said to everyone, and I said to all the producers, you guys, people are reacting so strongly to what's going on and the misogyny and the whole thing. I want to make sure that I represent what everyone is so upset about. And so that's, I think, part of the reason that I feel bad that I failed people, because I'm not a producer of the show. As a producer of the Housewives of Dallas or all the Housewives, I have so much more information going in, and I just feel so much more authority to sit there and be like, that's not true. No, da 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 da. So, anyway, I just want to make those 2 points, which is why, when I was hosting that Below Deck reunion, I kept going back in there. I'm like, you guys, like, is this enough? Am I giving you what you need? Is it balanced? So it is. I'm not an executive producer of the show. I don't even see cuts. If I would have anticipated what was being said about part 2, I didn't even watch the cuts, you guys, of the reunions before they went on. Maybe I would have watched and said, hey, can you add me being tougher on the guys if there's more to that, which I would think that there was, but there you go.
But I don't know what people expected you to do other than have them lined up and shot.
Beat them with a club.
Reaction.
Beat them with a club. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank
All
you,
right.
Kathy.
Sure.
Jeannie in Florida thinks there's a double standard with Ashton. What do you think it is?
Hi. Oh my gosh, shit. I don't think I could be as cool as everyone else calling in. I love you. Anyway, I don't understand why no one has brought up the fact that we're all on this misogynistic train, and as a female, I definitely don't want any woman being mistreated. But if, let's say, Simone or Kate or anyone had been an exotic dancer as a former profession, if Ashton or Captain Lee would have asked them to perform for a guest, for example, it would have been like production probably would have had to stop. The boat would have probably blown up. We would have all freaked out.
Oh, that's interesting.
But it's okay. It's okay for Ashton to be asked to do that. But then we're still on this misogynistic, kick.
Oh.
And I mean, I just don't understand. I think it was a huge double standard, and I think anyone brought that up. Okay, I can't breathe.
No, you're good.
But
I get it. That's interesting.
Yeah. There's so many double standards throughout. It was okay for Riley to objectify Brian and talk about, how she wanted to fuck the shit out of him or whatever, but
it's such an unusual. That's what I was trying to get at earlier. It's such an unusual circumstance that these people are working with each other and for each other, but they're also sleeping in the same quarters and really openly talking about, messing around. I mean, it's different,
Right.
So
it's different.
yeah. Thank you, Jeannie. And it does bring up a lot of double standards and, Sylvia in Florida. Sylvia.
Queen, are you there?
Queen.
Yes, I'm here.
What's up?
Hey, Andy. I used to love you so much.
Oh.
I don't know what.
Used to be's don't count anymore.
I mean, I watch all your shows, but I was very disappointed in the Below Deck.
Oh, you're not alone, Sylvia.
You have a ton of fans that you're losing. And I don't mean just like one or two, like thousands of people don't like you anymore.
Thank you, Sylvia.
I still don't really get what happened.
I just think it's that I realize that Ashton probably had a lawyer in the audience and everything had to be watched. Everything had to be watched what was said. But
Ashton didn't have a lawyer with him. No one had anyone with him.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's the rumor. I don't know how true that is. But,
Okay.
I mean, I just wish it would have gone a different way where the guys were called out a little more, even though I don't think Captain Lee or Kate were any better in the whole situation. I don't blame them. As Captain Lee said, he said he's never a babysitter, which he shouldn't be.
Yeah, he's not. I mean, he didn't know about half the stuff that was going on.
Yeah, and I just don't think that Bravo handled that very well. I think those guys should have been. I don't think those guys should ever come back to Bravo.
What do you mean come back to Bravo? You mean we shouldn't have had them on the reunion or what?
No, I don't think they should be showed on Bravo anymore at all. It's just a bad example.
They shouldn't have, so we should not have had them on the reunion?
No, the reunion was fine, but if Bravo ever decides to, do it at a Below Deck, it's going to lose a lot of fans if.
Okay, well, I mean, I don't think Bravo has hired them, so I don't. Right. Yeah, I don't think you have to worry about that.
But I love all your other shows.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, listen, I've done probably 150, maybe more reunion shows total. If you liked, if I messed up on this one and it's just, and I've done 149 others that you thought were okay, but this is, you want to throw me away with the trash, then that is your prerogative. I'm sorry I let you down. But I mean, I explained it all about an hour ago, so I don't know what else. What else can I tell you, or is there anything else you want to know from me, or do you want to yell at me some more?
No, I mean, I don't. A lot of women are just disappointed in you.
I know.
And I mean, women are your like number one
fans. I know.
And I mean, there is truly a hate Andy vibe out there.
I know, Sylvia.
I don't hate you, but
but you
participate,
right? You have every.
If you disappoint me.
Yes, I'm sorry I disappointed you, Sylvia. I'm sorry I disappointed you.
Well, thanks for listening, Andy.
Yeah, of course, I'm here.